What do we have that excites us first for red? Let's take a look at Conspiracy Theorist, huh? Gonna hit the hay? Sounds good, Crux. Take care of yourself, buddy, okay? Have a good one. We'll see you again very soon. Good night from everyone here. Also, this art is gas. Like, the Conspiracy Theorist artwork is cool. It's exceptionally cool. You're very welcome. Good night. When it attacks, you can pay 1 to rummage. Sure. Whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you can exile 1 of them, and if you do, you may cast it this turn. That's kind of cool with, like, Faithless Looting, Magmatic Channeler, as Nicolas Cage. That's pretty cool. I think this might be a little bit below the rate, because you can really only kind of cast the spells you're discarding on like turn 4, 5, maybe turn 3. Yeah, I think this is probably inferior to other options, but you do get to do some cool things with this. Like incidental value is pretty good. Is there another way to discard Arc-Light Phoenixes? Yeah, I don't know. I think this might be just a little too bad, but it's cool. Yeah, it's possibly close enough to being good that it makes the cut. Not entirely sure. We've talked briefly about Cracker with Power yesterday, and unfortunately I think this card is just too expensive to be able to really do the thing that you want it to do. Let's look at Draconic Intervention. EDH for sure. Attack onto my Lovestruck Beast. Okay. 4 mana. As an additional cost to cast this, exile an instant or sorcery from your graveyard. Deals X to every non-dragon, where X is the exile card's mana cost. Exile them. I think this is good. There are a few cards in this set, we haven't seen them yet, for the Prismari, that are expensive spells you can discard to make treasure. And if you're putting expensive spells in the graveyard early and fast, this is a very good red sweeper, right? This is just better than Storm's Wrath, or better than the alternatives if you're regularly exiling a spell that costs 4 or more, because it exiles. Like, it's just like a mass magma spray that does a shit ton of damage if you don't mind the exiling part. This card could definitely see a fair bit of play. I don't expect dragons to be a popular creature type, really. So this should be a pretty unconditional sweeper, as long as you are building a deck that can pretty easily turn it on by turn 4. Yeah, seems good. Could definitely see some play this one. You don't know? Let's look at a Freet Flame Painter. 4 mana 1/4. Shapeshifters are a thing, and with rotation, Goldspan will be all. That's actually a fair point. Goldspan Dragon is a very relevant dragon. That is a fair point I did not think about. Double strike in 1/4 here. When it deals combat damage to a player, you can cast target instant or sorcery from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. This is definitely not Prophetic Flamespeaker. Prophetic Flamespeaker cared about exiling the top card of your library. This one is more like Dreadhorde Arcanist, I think. In the sense of it strikes twice and will cast you up to 2 spells from the graveyard. This plays very well with the same cards as the Sweeper. We were talking a minute ago about the Magnum Opus cards from Prismari that you can discard early to make treasures. This seems more like a combo. I think that's a fair analysis. This is too expensive to be like value based. But if you look at the Magma Opus plus this as a combo, then definitely. Because if this survives turn 4 and gets to attack and just bomb your opponent with ultimatums or dumbass spells that you put in the graveyard, this is going to be very good. Is there any cycle spells? Sadly not. No, not in standard anyway. And other than the ones that already exist. But yeah, I think I agree with Jenin. I think this is definitely a combo card mainly. You're looking to dump stuff in your graveyard, resolve this, keep it safe, yeet. And do some stupid damage. Very, very Timmy card. But possibly good enough. An X4 is kind of hard to kill. But this is pretty shit against Brazen Borrower. Yeah, this might be format dependent. I think the format could be hostile to this pretty easily. But if the format is not hostile to this, there's like no Brazen Borrowers, no X4 removal. This thing's going to end a lot of games. Cool card. Alrighty. I would like to... These masteries have all sucked so far. Right? I think Red Mastery also sucks. But I would like to talk about Grinning Ingus. Because this card is going to have an effect on Historic for sure. So, this is the Future Shifted card that Maro was talking about. Originally printed in Future Sight, finally makes itself known in Strixhaven. It is a Graveshot enabler, but it also enables many other things. 1 red mana will return it to your hand to add colorless red. Only in the sorcery. So with Burgi and Runaway Steamkin, this thing goes infinite. Makes an infinite number of mana, lets you do the Grapeshot kill. Both of those cards are still... Well, Burgi is in standard, so you can probably do some silly things with Burgi. Maybe even like Song of Creation in standard. This is definitely a combo card, right? So the key to Grinning Ingus being good is if it's the ritual. Because neither standard or historic has rituals. Or at least not good ones. This is about as close as you get. Yeah. That's where this card's going to see play. It's your ritual in your Storm combo deck. And basically nowhere else. But it existing is a fairly big deal. It generates mana for free, which is something that you really can't do in any other way in standard or historic right now. So definitely a very relevant printing. Alrighty, next up cards that I'm actually particularly interested in. Illuminate History. The 4 mana to make 7, but it's inherently anti-storm, exactly. So talking about lessons, again, cards that we might want to potentially tutor up with Learn. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many, and then if there are 7 or more cards in the graveyard, make a 3/2. This card is not very good. The rest of the other colours have all had on-colour lessons that seem reasonable, but this is card disadvantage for the chance to make a 3/2 Spirit that doesn't even fly. Don't think this one is very good. Actively think it sucks ass in comparison to some of the other coloured lessons. Don't like this one a lot. Alrighty. Next up on cards to pay attention to, Retriever Phoenix. I don't think all of them are too costly. I think they're costed to be overcosted, deliberately, personally. 4 mana 2/2 flying with haste. This is a stat line that we've seen a number of times on other aggressively slanted creatures like Chandra's Phoenix. Whenever it enters the battlefield, learn. As long as it's in your graveyard, if you would learn, you may instead return it to the battlefield. Chandra's was 3 mana, 100%. I was just more talking about the stat line specifically. I think this card is overcosted, sadly. This is actually a really cool effect, and like very unique in comparison to what the rest of the learning stuff does. 4 mana hasty flyer that draws you a card is only ever going to be so bad, but when most of the cards you're drawing are worth less than a card, if you cast it though, Cash, you only learn with the Phoenix if you cast it, not if it comes back into play from its own ability. So you don't just get to learn and then have the Phoenix learn again. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. It only cares about when you cast it. I agree. Unfortunately, this is kind of bad. And that's a shame. It actually upsets me a bit because this is a very unique learn payoff and it's just too expensive. If this card was 3 mana, it'd be really good. At 4 mana, I just think it's unplayable. So that's a bit of a shame.
Ooh, mamma mia. Oh my god. Scott, you weasel bastard.
Party Zeke has just subscribed. Let's go.
Let's go! The infamous Party Zeke. Welcome on back, my friend. Thank you for the resubscription. I really appreciate it. How are you today? Yeah, nothing else red. Just kind of out of red at this point in time.